Ever had a customer sign a waiver and then blame you when everything went wrong? I've been a professional mechanic for more than 10 years, mostly handling diagnostics and heavy repair. Working in a shop that takes every make and model means you never know what kind of problem or person is about to roll into your bay. Most days are pretty normal, but every once in a while, a customer comes in who ends up living in your memory forever. This one still makes me shake my head even years later. It started like any other afternoon. An older Hyundai van pulled in, driven by a woman who had that familiar, "I already don't trust you" look before she even stepped out. She told me her check engine light was on, and the van didn't move the way it used to. Fair enough. I wrote up the work order and pulled it into the shop while she waited up front. The moment the engine idled in my bay, I heard a strange noise. Not the normal type you hear when someone has a worn belt or needs a tune-up. This was deeper, irregular. I shut the engine down immediately and hooked up my scanner. The codes popped up in clusters, everyone pointing toward timing issues. That usually means the timing belt is worn, stretched, or has jumped teeth. In some engines, that's an inconvenience. In this engine, it's a disaster waiting to happen. I popped the hood, removed part of the timing cover, and froze. Half the belt was missing. Not frayed, not cracked, missing. The remaining strands looked like a shoelace chewed down to the last threads. I stepped back for a moment because I genuinely couldn't believe the van made it onto the lot under its own power. This engine was designed with extremely tight internal clearance. If that belt slipped too far, everything inside the engine would collide, and the engine would be beyond economical repair. Then I checked the service sticker and saw she was about 30,000 miles past the recommended replacement interval. I brought her out into the shop, showed her the belt, and explained exactly what was going on. To her credit, she nodded along like she understood. I told her plainly that the van should not be started again, not even for a second. I recommended replacing the belt right away, and even discounted the job heavily to help her out. She looked at me, crossed her arms, and said she didn't trust us. She said she knew exactly what mechanics do, and accused me of trying to trick her into a repair she didn't need. I tried again to explain the situation calmly, but she refused. She demanded her keys and insisted she was going to drive the van out because she had driven it in. Since she made it clear she wasn't taking the repair, I had her sign the liability waiver, stating she understood the risks. We reassembled everything, pushed the van out to the parking lot, and handed her the keys. She snatched them out of my hand and stomped toward the driver's door. Everybody in the shop quietly watched from inside because we knew what was about to happen. She turned the key. The engine cranked, caught for about half a second, and then stopped with a hollow sound. She tried again, but now it only cranked freely with no compression. The timing belt had finally snapped. The engine was done. She swung her door open and stormed back inside, yelling that I sabotaged her van, that we broke it on purpose, and that we were responsible for fixing it. She threw around words like lawsuit and corporate, threatened to call the police, and accused us of holding her vehicle hostage earlier. We stayed calm and reminded her she chose to drive it after being warned. We had the photos, the codes, the documentation, and the signed waiver. She didn't want to hear any of it. She walked around the parking lot shouting, and a few customers waiting in the lobby overheard everything. About 10 minutes later, a police car pulled in. The officers spoke to her first, but then came to me for the actual story. I handed them the work order, the photos, and the signed release. They looked over everything, nodded, and walked back to her. I couldn't hear what they said, but I watched her expression shift from confident to defeated in a matter of seconds. The van stayed in our lot for nearly a month while she tried everything to make someone pay for it. She complained to corporate, to our management, even to a few lawyers, but everyone came to the same conclusion. She had no case. When she finally arranged for the van to be towed, we informed her that she owed storage fees after the first week. Watching her reaction was almost as dramatic as the day it happened. All she had to do was let us replace a worn belt. Instead, she ended up with a ruined engine and a bill from the tow company and storage fees on top of it. Some customers don't want to listen, even when you show them the problem right in front of their eyes. And every mechanic has at least one story like this burned into their memory.